What is up, guys? It is the Bluebloods here coming at y'all with another 2 minute drill episode, Thursday, June 3rd, man. And before we even get rolling, make sure to catch up on all the 2 minute drill episodes all week. Go check out our interview with Andy Burcham, the voice of the Auburn Tigers, yesterday. And make sure to go check out all the awesome people that we had come on the podcast for all the other conferences. So there's plenty of content to catch up on here at the Blue Bloods. Make sure to go check that out. But guys, we got to talk recruiting. One of my favorite topics, one of Brandon's favorite topics. The NCAA officially ends the recruiting dead period. It was June 1st. So this means that recruits and coaches and any of the staff can meet in person, get those official visits in. And there was one school that wasted no time with this. Florida State hosted what they called Midnight Madness, where they had the families of the top recruits they wanted to recruit for their official or unofficial visits lined up outside, Brandon, starting at like 11:30, man, at the doors of the athletic facility. And they said, listen, as soon as that clock hits 12, y'all are coming up in here. And so Kenny Dillingham, the offensive coordinator, Mike Norvell, all of them let the families in. They had a whole Midnight Madness event. They had like one of those, I don't know what they're called, like the three-wheel cars, like the sports cars, and on the field they went all out for Midnight Madness. So Brandon, one, how do you feel about the recruiting dead period being over? And two, are you with me about how genius Florida State played this?
So I am ecstatic this dead period's over, Zach. And this is a dead period that isn't really like any that we've ever seen because it's extended over a year. You know, because of COVID regulations last year, there were no on-site visits. There were no official visits. So, I mean, this is like almost 2 years coming all together. And finally, you know what? We get like true recruiting because, Zach, I know we talk about it on this podcast and we bring this exact scenario up a good bit, but how much does being able to sit in front of Nick Saban and him being able to put those rings down right in front of you convince a recruit, you know what, I am going to go to Alabama rather than just talking to him on the phone? That's a totally different experience, and that goes for any team in this country. That's not just Alabama. That's if you go down to Baton Rouge and you talk to Coach O, he's going to get you fired up in person. Over the phone, maybe, but in person, he's going to take you down. He's going to give you the Joe Burrow treatment. He's going to take you out to get some crawfish. He's gonna show you a good time down here. And that also goes for Florida State, apparently, who had Midnight Madness, which sounds like the best time anybody's ever had. Like, I would have loved to have gone. I didn't get my invite. I know I'm not playing, but I'm a journalist. I'm a lowercase j journalist, I guess.
We're not verified on Twitter, journalist.
Right, no, we're unverified, but that's all right. We don't want to be verified. We don't want to fall into the system. But Midnight Madness, dude, sounds like an insane time. I know you said they had like the trikes. I wish they would have had like some inflatables. Like I would have been playing on some obstacle courses. That sounds like a good time. I mean, I would have loved to go over to that campus literally the minute that you could start being on that campus.
They played it so well. And shout out to Kenny Dillingham and all those people that were in the videos that I saw on Twitter. You can go check out my Twitter for some of those as well. I was tweeting it out at that time. Man, the energy that they were bringing at 12 o'clock Eastern time, electric. I know people who can't bring that energy during the daytime, Brandon. They were like, good to see you. Great to meet you. And I was like, it's midnight, my dude. Like, we can take it down like a few notches. But they were ready. And also, it probably helps that, you know, your 5-star blue chip guy, Travis Hunter, who you already have committed, is telling people, got to come to Midnight Madness. He's plugging it. And when he's a top 10 recruit in the country, Brandon, I think that holds some weight. So not only did they have like a genius marketing idea for the end of the dead period, you have one of the best recruits in the country plugging your event as the main star.
And Zach, this is like a total this is a total one. I was going to say 360, 180 from what we've heard about Coach Norvell in the past season, where apparently he just doesn't care about his players, doesn't care about the recruits. To me, it kind of seems like he cares a little bit too much by throwing this whole thing. Madness thing. Like he really wants to show them a good time. Uh, he has to improve this image, and I think this is a good start for that.
Yeah, and the way I tweeted it is, can you think of the last positive thing that's come out of Florida State in the past 3-4 years?
Not at all. There's not one good thing, Zach. That's a state university in Tallahassee, Florida. That's a negative to me. Like every single
just Florida State itself is a double negative. But man, A plus 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 for Florida State in this market team. And they also, Brandon, on top of that, were the first school to really lean into the national we're not the national, but just what is it called? I'm blanking now, where players can profit off their name, image, likeness, NIL. The NILs, they're the first real big school to lean into that and say we're in like one of the capital cities, like we are one of the biggest cities in Florida, in Tallahassee. So come here, you'll have more marketing ideas. And then you saw Georgia Tech lean into it and things like that. Listen, when Mike Norvell was initially hired, I was way more on board. And then, he had the whole thing with Marvin Wilson and the Black Lives Matter incident, all that. He's looking like he's trying to redeem himself for the most part here. And so I'm very interested to see how the rest of his tenure goes. And, to be honest, Brandon, it's looking like he's landing those 5-star prospects. He's killing it on the recruiting trail. And being a younger coach, he's staying on the forefront of where recruiting is eventually going to go. So right now, Mike Norvell is killing this all season, and Florida State is taking all the necessary steps to step back into relevancy in the ACC.
right. And I don't know, I know this isn't necessarily a Florida State segment right now, but I feel like we have to talk about it a little bit. I feel like his hand was a little bit forced here. Like he had to come up with something. I understand his hand wasn't forced to have this Midnight Madness thing, but he had to do something, right? Because all these negative images of him last season, just the season in general last year. I know he's only been in Tallahassee for a year, but he's going to find himself in the hot seat real quick if he doesn't turn something around. And I think that's exactly what he's doing here. This was a great idea. I don't know if it was his idea or somebody's idea, but they might have saved Norvell's job here. He's still going to have to turn this team around, and they're actually going to win games. But this was, I think, a good starting spot. I mean, if you can recruit, you can win. That's just a fact.
Yeah. I mean, and, also you kind of mentioned it. So you mentioned Coach O can give players the Joe Burrow treatment and all that kind of stuff. How about the schools? Okay, so I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. Auburn, Iowa State, Indiana, Cincinnati, Kansas State, TCU, schools like that might not be the biggest program in their state, Brandon, but have the amazing campuses. I think of someone like Ole Miss, like Brandon, you can't get the grasp of what makes a place like Auburn or a place like Iowa State special because, going to play in Auburn, Alabama might not be as spectacular as going to a huge city. Or how about if I told you, let me sell you on Manhattan, Kansas, Brandon?
Okay.
Just based off that word, you're like, I'm good. I don't want to go play at Kansas. But then you get up here, see all the new facilities, things like that. I think the places that lean into this is a family environment, like this is a family campus, like this is going to be your home. These programs have been suffering through COVID, and it's real hard to get that over, a Zoom call or whatever they're using. So I think those programs are going to benefit most from off-campus business. And then we got first-year head coaches. How hard has it probably been for the Brian Harsons, the Leopolds over there in Kansas? How about all those first-year coaches, the Josh Heupels at Tennessee, Gus Malzahn going to UCF? How hard has it been for them to recruit as first-year head coaches? You can even look at Lane Kiffin and Mike Leach, who stepped in their first year and had to deal with this. So how big do you think it is for those home, what do you want to call them, like the home campuses and then first-year head coaches?
I will say, Zach, Gus Malzahn had a wonderful idea by putting the players' Twitter handles on the back of the jersey.
It looks so dumb, but I don't hate the move. That could be the future. I mean, it really might be.
I don't think so, man.
No,
But
like, what if they put it like right here? So, like, you know how it's like the SEC logo, the NCAA logo. What if they put it like on the chest piece? So you know, like how the Army uniforms have like
oh,
the
you mean
like
like a
surf.
military uniform? Yes, I understand
Yeah.
what their football jersey
Okay,
is doing.
but I can absolutely see the social media handles go in there.
I was trying to make a joke. It didn't land. I'm sorry, guys. We're not letting Zach have any more shine on this particular subject. But no, Zach, I definitely understand what you're saying. And yeah, it's been difficult for these first year head coaches. And I think Norvell's included in that. I mean, because last year was his first year at Florida State.
Yeah.
What did he get thrown into? You know, the second he lands on campus, the pandemic starts. Like
Anywhere you have to follow Willie Taggart.
oh my God. And yeah, so go ahead and blow the whole program up. But Zach, I think that you were underselling a little bit because you didn't want to show a lot of bias. But I think Auburn's a wonderful example of that. You know, I'm not a big Auburn guy. Obviously, I'm an LSU fan. If you look just behind me anywhere, my hat maybe, I don't know. But I mean, even just the times that I went to go visit with you at Auburn, dude, like just stepping on that campus, there's something special about it. And you wouldn't know that until you step foot on campus. And that is the case with a lot of these smaller, or not smaller schools, but not like the flagship university in a given state. I mean, I know you mentioned TCU. I think like places like Texas A&M have that kind of draw too. And, you know, it's easy to look over to Texas. So like whenever you have all these Zoom calls, like you're set on Texas, fine. If you step foot on Texas A&M or you step foot on Baylor's campus or you step foot on TCU's campus, you're going to see the charm of these schools and the culture there. And that can really draw a recruit in. So I definitely get what you're saying there.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I try not to show like too much bias because, like, I mean, everyone I've taken over is like, I love this campus, and like, I don't think you can get that. Everything can look good on a brochure, Brandon, but you got to feel that energy when you get to campus. So I kind of want to shift this over to our like secondary topic of this show, Brandon. College football recruiting is changing rapidly with the transfer portal. You know, when they introduced early signing day, it did it. The one free transfer rule has done it. I mean, now you're going to have name, image, and likeness coming up. How are all these? We can take these one at a time if you want, but how are these things going to change college football recruiting in the coming years?
Yeah, I mean, let's go ahead and get it started. I mean, yeah, I think we should take it one step at a time here. Let's start with name, image, and likeness. Let's see how that's going to change the college football recruiting, I guess, landscape.
Yeah,
because players, you don't think that players are going to be way more drawn to these schools that are going to allow them to make money off of their name, image, and likeness. Because in California, the legislature has already been passed. In Florida, I think been passed.
Georgia. I think Georgia is like either right there or has been passed very recently.
So there's these states where it's already legal, and then there's states where, like Alabama, it's not legal yet. Louisiana.
Well, Alabama, I think the bill has like one more step to go, so it should be by the time college football rolls around.
Right, but so okay, well, in Louisiana, it's not legal yet. In Texas, it's not legal yet.
I don't think so.
So I think that what we're going to see a lot of is these states where there are like these powerhouse programs who are probably going to lose recruits to these schools that, you know, schools like who, Zach? I mean, Central Florida. You know,
I have a school that I think is gonna. It's gonna be a stretch, but I think there's a very obvious choice for the biggest winner from name, image, likeness. I'll get to when you're done.
So I know a lot of the West Coast. I know a lot of the Pac-12 states have legalized it. I think Oregon and Washington both.
I think California definitely has, and then I'm pretty sure Arizona already has a bill in motion, but I don't know if it's passed yet.
Right. So my point here is, Zach, that I mean it's the state legislature that's going to be driving recruiting here, and you know you're going to see schools lose out on a lot of talent and thus lose out on a lot of money because these recruits are going to end up going other places and end up making money for these programs. So I think that what we're really going to see, and I don't think it's gonna be that big of a deal, Zach. At first, it might be. We're gonna see these recruits being pulled to these to schools in states where this has already been passed. But I think really more of what we're going to see is states just one by one domino effect start legalizing this name, image, likeness legislature.
Yeah. So for me, I think so. Not only that, I think once like it gets rolling in college football, I think all the states are going to be like I said, dominoes very close together. So I don't know if that'll be as much of an impact long term on recruiting. Maybe just like because I think by the time this early signing day rolls around in December, I think all the states are probably going to have it at least in motion, where the incoming class is going to be able to make money off their name, image, likeness. Now, the school that I was talking about earlier is a school in one of the biggest cities out there, and I think it's a sleeping giant, Brandon, and that's Georgia Tech.
Okay.
I really, really think, I know it sounds crazy right now because it's Georgia Tech, but I think that if they play their hand right, Brandon, they can be a top 10 program in probably 4 or 5 years. I'm talking about like national championship contender, big program.
I mean,
And because I mean, Brandon, what other city? Because Brandon, you've been to Atlanta, you've been around Atlanta. How many businesses, companies, famous people? I mean, how many opportunities are there for athletes to promote their brand in Atlanta?
no, it's almost limitless, and I mean, Atlanta is only growing because Atlanta's not getting smaller, and that
Yeah.
metro area is ginormous. So, dude, it's going to be almost unstoppable.
Yeah, and you look at the Alabamas, the Auburns, the Georgias. I mean, yeah, LSU's in Baton Rouge, but we can't really compare Baton Rouge to Atlanta.
Not at all.
And you got a bunch of these like off kilter, side cities that are close, but they're not. I mean, Georgia Tech guys. I don't know if any of y'all have been. It is in Atlanta. Like you could be walking from like restaurants in the city and just stumble upon Georgia Tech's campus.
Right.
I mean, like the TNT like studios are like not far from the Georgia State Stadium when you're coming down the interstate.
And that's because I want to say Turner Studios, like who owns CNN, who owns TSN, who owns all these giant giant media companies is headquartered in Atlanta.
Yeah, then you got Coke, and you got so many companies. I think Georgia Tech could be the one like sleeping program that just blows if they play this right, Brandon, because of the recruiting opportunities. And we've seen Georgia Tech be good in the past. You're seeing them get better now. So I think Georgia Tech's the team to watch. And so, Brandon, the name, image, likeness, I think is going to benefit bigger cities initially until those smaller cities can figure out a way to, sell that the small city scale or whatever you want to say. But, I want to move to the transfer portal, of course. And, we talked about tampering a few episodes back and how certain coaches said that high school recruiting is going to change. My take on it is this. So I look at it two ways. Like, yes, players should be able to move freely at least one time. And, they should have the ability to go whatever best suits their career. But I do feel like, I don't know how you feel about this, Brandon. I do feel like teams need to be careful, though. Because just because, like, I don't, there's like this, I'm trying to think of like a word to put it. Like, there's this myth that gets spread around college football fans, not really the media, but fans, where, okay, so if this player doesn't work out at LSU and he goes to Tennessee, now he's going to be a superstar?
Right.
So the way that I put it is sometimes one man's trash is not another man's treasure. Sometimes it's just trash. And so we have to be careful because, like, it's great to get a transfer here or there. And, like, yeah, if you get a 5-star transfer, like, great. But sometimes, like, the transfers don't work out. And so I think we need to pump the brakes on just thinking because kids can move schools that all of a sudden they're just going to succeed anywhere they go.
Well, I agree with you there, Zach, especially because it's not like it's been illegal for kids to transfer schools.
Yeah.
At worst, they have to sit out for a season, but at best, they've already been granted immediate eligibility. Yes, we've seen the instances where they haven't, and a lot of them are, I think, despicable. I think the NCAA has really fumbled
At Luke Deal, y'all should go to jail for that one.
every single one of you. But yeah, I honestly don't think that this whole transfer rule changes a lot just because these kids have already been transferring. Yes, they get one free transfer, which I guess the only thing I could see potentially changing is, like we mentioned in previous episodes, kids might start like gravitating a little bit more toward these big schools. Like a lot more recruits might start going toward these big schools. Like even to the point where if a kid has has a scholarship at a Group of 5 program, and then they could be like a preferred walk on at Alabama or Clemson or Oklahoma or one of these giant schools, they might take that preferred walk on because you know what? Best case, it works out. Worst case, they transfer and no penalty. Also, before we move on, I did want to mention real quick something on the name, image, and likeness. Georgia, Florida, Mississippi, Alabama, and I think Tennessee. There's I think those are the ones. They're all like they have July 1st pegged as their date to hopefully have.
Yeah, I just want to say this, guys. I just want y'all to remember who's all in those states.
I mean, it's that's huge. Louisiana's supposed to pass the law. It already passed the state Senate 32-0, like no opposition in May. It's supposed to be passed into law in June. So the SEC is going to be fully immersed in name, image, likeness law.
There was no question the SEC was going to get behind it.
Right.
I mean, the SEC is going to be trailblazers. As much as Kevin Warren thinks the Big Ten runs college football, let's pump the brakes there, Kevin. Like we saw what happened when you thought you were running stuff and canceled the season, and only the Pac-12 with no backbone followed you.
Well, and we've already talked about the laws in those states, Zach. So I don't know about no backbone. Stanford literally could not play in their home stadium. So.
That was beforehand. I don't want to hear it. Kevin hashtag fire Kevin. I might get that tattooed like on my neck. Hashtag fire Kevin Warren. But the transfer portal thing is good, and it's just I don't know if it's going to be the end all be all of high school recruiting though, like some people are saying.
Yeah,
I mean, because if you're looking at it, or I am, just as a college football guy, I would rather have a freshman who's coming in 5-star for all these years of eligibility rather than a graduate transfer who's on his third school and hasn't worked out anywhere. That's just me.
No, yeah, I mean,
you can have 27 games of experience, but you ain't done a damn thing in them.
Right.
Looking at you, Austin Kendall. Anyway,
yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, it's not always a good I'll call out Auburn just so you know I'm not biased. What in the hell is Grant Lloyd doing taking up a damn scholarship at Auburn? He had like a 8-20 touchdown interception ratio at Bowling Green.
And Auburn said, you know what? Let's give him a scholarship.
It just makes me sick. Like, are you serious? Like, you're taking a scholarship? Like, I know. Like, just go get a freshman, a 3-star from somewhere with more potential than that. Jesus Christ.
Zach's mad because some of his tuition money went toward
Grant Lloyd.
Yeah. So he's upset.
Yeah, it went to a clipboard holder and a practice dummy. Give me a break.
That's the green jersey that they can't hit him. He went toward that jersey though.
That's true. That's true. I'm gonna get an autographed green jersey from Grant Lloyd. Hit me up. But no, like that's why I don't think it's going to end high school recruiting because, like, yeah, and it's different because we also cover a lot of like SWAC football and HBCU stuff, and they get a lot of transfers from the Power 5, and yeah, some of them will hit, but also at the same time, like I'm getting this with Jackson State fans. Just because you're landing a bunch of transfers does not mean they're all going to work out.
Nope. And you know what? I'm not going to say it never works out. It pretty rarely works out for transfers that like. For most transfers, I mean, what's his name?
If you look at the stats,
Blake Barnett He was supposed to be a star in Alabama. He's transferred like 6 times now. Yeah, I know he was at South Florida. Is that where he's still at, or is he done?
Yeah, I think he graduated.
Well, that doesn't matter.
Yeah, because remember, I think wasn't he the quarterback when they got beat like 63-0 by Wisconsin?
Yeah.
Oh man, so like I get that, and the thing that I don't like, I just feel like taking a freshman that you can develop over a guy like and Josh Pate makes a great distinction on this podcast is that the Late Kick Pod, go check it out. That dude is awesome. We had him on the podcast. He made a good distinction where returning talent doesn't always equal success because eventually they're going to hit their ceiling.
Right.
So like, yeah, so whatever. Iowa State this year returning like 20 something starters. What if they've all hit their ceiling? We're all just assuming that it's just going to be like this linear progression. And so they have to get better next year. What if last year was all they had?
Yeah.
And so I feel like the transfer portal is good and bad. And, I think there are, and I get the argument some people have, Brent. I'm not going to lie. I think everyone should be able to do what they want, but I do think there's people who transfer that shouldn't. I do. I really do. Just like there's people who take jobs they shouldn't in real life. The grass isn't always greener. So I think the transfer portal is great for college football. It's going to change a lot of the way, especially with scholarship limits. Brandon, people aren't talking about it enough. Next year, it's going to get real dicey with those super seniors and everything going on. You're going to have to figure out some roster numbers, and I don't know if a lot of teams are prepared to do that.
That's a fact because that extra year of eligibility might come back to bite a lot of teams.
Yeah, and the last question here, we're almost at 30 minutes, guys. This will be a long one. The last question here, Brandon. Yeah, like this, like a real episode. This is like a throwback to when we used to release these episodes as episodes. But, for early signing day, so it just seems like it's getting earlier and earlier every year. Do you think we're going to see more in-season firings because of that?
Oh man, that's
because like we saw with Auburn, it really affected Brian Harson's ability to have. I mean, he had like a week to get together before early signing day, and then he saw Kansas have to fire Les Miles in March. He didn't get any signing day or spring practice. So, do you think we're going to see if a coach is on the hot seat and he starts out 1-4? LSU did the Les Miles thing where they fired him in September. Do you think we're going to see more of that in college football? Because usually we wait till the end of the season. But do you think because of early signing day, getting that guy as early as possible is more important?
Yeah, honestly, yeah. I could see a world in which that would happen. Just because, I mean, you can't land these recruits, you can't win games. What are you even here for? Just like why are we keeping you around? The less time we have to have with you who can't win games, cannot recruit, the better, because we can get somebody else in here who, even if they can't win games, can't recruit, they're not doing any worse than you are. So yeah, I definitely understand that, Zach, and I think that might be the case. I'm not sure how much more. I'm not sure how much of a fluctuation we'll see in like the true statistics of it all, but I could definitely see where we see like a 5% increase in early season or like mid-season firings.
And the last question, we see players opt out now. We see players opt out of high school, bowl games, seasons. I mean, there was I think it was Prairie View A&M. They had a graduate transfer from the HBCU, was going to go to K-State. He's opting out of the whole season next year. I don't know what happened, but he's just going to skip the season and go to the NFL. Probably a terrible idea, to be honest, but because I can't remember his name, that shows you what his NFL draft stock probably is.
But remember your name. That's a wrap.
That's true. I used to be pretty good with that, but do you think we'll see? So, like, let's say, I don't want to do LSU because I think LSU is going to do real good this year. I want to be like realistic. Scott Frost, Nebraska, they start out like 0-5, pull the plug. What if like their top candidate? Who is another realistic option? I probably should have thought this out a lot better. Their top candidate is Gus Malzahn at UCF. And let's say UCF is just everything goes wrong. Starting quarterback goes down. Everything just goes to you know what. Could you see like a head coach pulling like a bowl game thing and being like, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take this job, announce that I'm going to take it next year in the middle of the season and just bail on it like we've seen some people do?
So you mean like he's jumping out in front of it? He's like, I'm not even gonna wait to be fired. I'm gonna, yeah. I mean, we could see that. I don't.
That'd be just bananas, though, right? I mean, I feel like that. I feel like that's an extreme, but like,
Yeah.
if because the rumor is the college football playoffs going to expand. So if you're a candidate for a better job now, so like the LSU job comes open and it gets offered to you, and you're coaching at Cincinnati. Luke Fickell gets offered the LSU head coaching job. Cincinnati has 3 losses already. They're out of the playoff race, and it's week 12, week 13. Why wouldn't he go ahead and accept it?
That's true. I mean, I don't know.
Especially with the early signing period. That's where it came from. With the early signing period, if you could go ahead and accept it, you can start recruiting.
I feel like I'm freezing up here, Zach, because like this is such an odd scenario in my mind. Like I don't know if I could ever realistically see this playing out that way. Like, yes, hypothetically, I guess that could happen, but also hypothetically, anything could happen. Like we could like you could go on for miles and miles.
We're just opening up like Einstein's theory of relativity. We're like,
my mind's blown. Like, we got Neil deGrasse Tyson on this side over here trying to make up.
Bro, we talk about the future of college football recruiting. I'm going into the future, but man, guys, comment below and let us know what y'all think about everything we talked about today. We'd love to hear y'all's opinion. Y'all have been interactive in the comments on a bunch of our videos, so shout out to y'all, man. Keep subscribing. We are gaining subscribers like crazy. Enter yourself in the 300 subscriber giveaway. # road to 1K right here on the Blue Bloods. Give this video a big thumbs up, man. As y'all know, Monday through Friday, 2-minute drill right here on YouTube. And we're continuing our SEC in 30 days thing going on. We got Mississippi State coming out tomorrow. We got Arkansas on Monday, and we got Vandy next Wednesday. So make sure to tune into those and catch up on all things SEC football with that. But for B-Dub, myself, the 2-minute drill, the Blue Bloods, we'll be back tomorrow. But for right now, we are out.